Court TV crime and justice reporter Joy Lim Nakrin has been watching the trial in South Carolina all day, the Mistaken Rideshare case, and has more for us on that case tonight.
So we heard from several key witnesses for the state today, including a state law enforcement division expert, Delilah Jazik, and she described the injuries to the victim that she photographed at one of the crime scenes, as well as what she discovered at the scene where the defendant's vehicle was recovered. She also held up articles of clothing that the victim was wearing in her final moments, including her undergarments, a shirt that appeared mangled and bloody, her pants, her shoes, one of which was broken, both of which were just dangling off of her ankles. Let's listen to this clip from Special Agent Delilah Jazik of the State Law Enforcement Division.
This is a multi-tool that we found in the grocery bag in the trash can in the backyard residence of Maria Howard at Mountain Brook.
And I believe you said this, but what, if anything, did you see on the knife when you collected it?
Suspected blood was seen on the knife when we collected it, as well as suspected hair.
Later in the day, we also heard from Lieutenant Britt Dove from the State Law Enforcement Division, and he specializes in cell phone data analysis. He went into great detail about what he discovered on the victim's phone, that it was traveling out of the 5 Points area at the time in question, and it was turned off that night. And then the next morning, there was activity downtown once again. He also explained that he wasn't able to extract much from either of the defendant's phone. But tomorrow in court, we expect to hear from another cell phone expert, and perhaps that's when we'll learn more about the locations that both the defendant and victim's phone were traveling in the night in question. Back to you.
All right, let's bring back in our think tank and talk about what is the defense here. Renee Hill, opening statement, it was all about there's no DNA from the defendant on the victim. And as we get deeper and deeper into this thing, you know, a horrific crime scene, which is his car. They're not, they haven't, you know, we haven't heard anything yet about who else could have been driving this car. So isn't it sort of incumbent upon the defense at this point, and when they're going to present their case, to tell us, well, where was your car? Who was driving it?
Yeah, it would seem at some point that the defense is going to have to put forth something towards their full argument. But right now, it's the prosecution's case, and the defense is going to take it one step at a time. They're going to deal with each witness. They're going to see if they can get that gift that each witness brings with them, because we look for a gift from every witness, right? So their argument is going to be that there's no DNA on the victim of the defendant. And they're going to try to make arguments that if he were involved in a scuffle with this young lady and she fought, and we know that she fought from the evidence that there are footprints on the windows and things of that nature, that he should have some kind of cuts on him or some kind of bruises or something, and he doesn't have that. So this is all the defense has, and they're going to have to make the most of that argument, because all of the other evidence is so compelling, even though it's circumstantial, but it's very compelling. And if they don't have a true alibi, he says that he was at a party, you know, where are the people that were at the party that can testify? Yeah, he was here, he was sleeping. And then there are all the other problems that come with it that are mounting. Like you said, there's the cell phone that he's in possession of, that he's trying to sell. There's his ex-girlfriend's testimony. There's the evidence of this clothing and items with purported blood on them that are found in the girlfriend's backyard. So these are a lot of problems that the defense is going to have in this case. And because of that, they have to make their arguments on the strongest points that they have, which in this day and age, DNA means everything to everyone. And so if they can put forth the fact that his DNA is not on the victim, that's huge. And they will make that argument.
So, Carmen, sometimes when we look at these cases, and, you know, a lot of times I analyze the defense case and where they're going, because in most of these trials, and there have been a few exceptions, most of these trials, there's a lot of prosecution evidence, and it's clear what their theory is and what they believed happened and what they believe all this evidence means. Is it difficult sometimes to find out what the defense case is because the defendant is just guilty?
It is, Vinny. And I think this may be one of those cases, unfortunately. I mean, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence
No, I
in
think
this
it's
case.
fortunate, though, Carmen, isn't it? We don't want to try people who are innocent. I mean, I'm a
Well-
former prosecutor. I don't want to put innocent people on trial. I want to put the guilty on trial.
That's fair, but I like to see my defense lawyers get in the game. And in this game, I don't see a lot coming from them. But as Renee pointed out, maybe we're not there yet. But I think they're trying to just tear down this circumstantial case. And in this matter, I don't know if that's going to work because there's just so much of it. And like a lot of jurors believe, who else could it be? And unfortunately, with the evidence, with this gentleman on trial, with not a lot of theory coming from the defense yet, I think it's not looking good for him as we go forward.
And Molly, I want a vigorous defense. I don't want defense attorneys to lay down. I don't want them to be incompetent. I want them to be tough, smart, and do their jobs like you all do day in and day out in courtrooms. But I want to get back to that point. Sometimes people are just guilty.
Well, sometimes people that are innocent are wrongfully convicted.
We
And
covered
that's
that
why-
last night. We covered that story last night, Molly. Go ahead.
I mean, look, I'm on the board of my state's Innocence Project, and I can speak at length about the problems leading to wrongful convictions. And one thing that's particularly interesting here is that no DNA whatsoever. I think jurors pay attention to that. I mean, we're so used to forensics heavy trials. I mean, that's a huge deal. But I think what the defense has to do, and what's difficult, is kind of counter the heinous facts of this young girl, this innocent young girl, doing something we all do, using rideshare. I mean, it's harrowing. And that's what the defense has to do. They have to set a tone. And I think in addition, not just counter the burden of the state and argue reasonable doubt, they do have to have a theory of defense, and they really have to set a tone that promotes the innocence of their clients and moves it away from this really difficult, ugly, heinous crime. And it's a hard job, Vinny, but some of us, we not only do it, but we love it.
Yeah, and again, folks, our system would not work without the job that is done by defense attorneys day in and day out.